Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, we're going old school today. And in old school, I mean Old Testament. We're going to talk about, first a little Sunday inspiration, talk about Jeremiah 29:11. Again, you can go by any Bible version. I'm going to read you from the Catholic reading. But we're talking about, for I know well the plans I have in mind for you, says the Lord. Plans for your welfare, not for woe. Plans to give you a future full of hope. And why I love this verse is I find that so many people seem to be lost. They seem to be searching. And God is telling you that he has a plan for you, even if you don't understand it. And so I recite this often to people when we feel like if we want to make God laugh, just tell him our plans. Mm-hmm. And this is one of these ones that, I know you and I were talking about this earlier. This is one of these ones that gets misconstrued a lot by people, but simply putting your faith in the Lord and understanding that he has a plan for you is what is almost like a superpower for us. It's whether we understand it or not, we've placed that faith in knowing that God has a place for us despite whatever happens. I don't know what's going to happen today or tonight or tomorrow or any time in the rest of my life, and neither do you. We try to do everything we can to make plans, but ultimately, if you're a believer, you have to then at least believe in the power of the Lord and what the plans are he has for you. How do you look at it?
Yeah, same way. It's if you look at that first part of the verse, I know the thoughts I have for you. In other words, he's trying to tell us, hey, here's how I think about you, here's how I feel about you, and here's what I want for you. And he also doesn't say that this means you have no troubles. I mean, yeah. Jesus even says in this world, you're going to have troubles. But what this verse says is, and I think if we look at the context, even just a few verses back, he's telling the nation of Israel, hey, there's going to be 70 years where you're living in a land that's not your own, and you're going to get through it. And here's the ultimate plans that I'm kind of working you towards, so that these difficulties you're about to go through, you know that I'm not going to waste them, and that they're there for a purpose. So knowing that my trials that I might encounter are not going to be wasted, he's going to actually use them for my good, for his glory, that brings a whole lot of peace and a whole lot of confidence, because I tell you, I mean, this control is just a myth. And if I try to think that I can manage every situation and every circumstance and every outcome, that is the opposite of peace. That is anxiety, to bring it back to mental health.
Well, in Jeremiah, the whole story of Jeremiah, he suffered with a lot of inner doubts and conflicts. And I think one of the things that points out, the more that you get to know about him and the more you really let this passage sink in, is that our lives, albeit we only enjoy as much as we can out of it while we're here, but there is an after, if you believe, and those are the plans that God has for us.
Absolutely.
Well, I will see you on the other side, but not on that other side just yet.
Not quite.
We got a little ways to go, but I'm going to trust in the Lord that he'll at least bring us back together for another episode. How about that?
Perfect. See you then.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.